Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store for items like the Razer Kiyo webcam, affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo, this is the Mundane Matt channel, and Hollywood is never not without some form of controversy regarding one thing or another. It doesn't matter if it's an actor in a role, or who wrote something, or who directed something, or who's releasing it, or when it's being released, if it's insensitive, if it's not insensitive. There's always something to complain about when it comes to Tinseltown. That's part of the magic, if you will. But this one is interesting to me because Disney is currently facing backlash after quote-unquote browning up extras on the Aladdin set. Now, Disney, for some reason, since 2013, or 2014, has really been wanting to push these live action remakes, and the reason is they do well. Maleficent did very well. The sequel is going to start filming here pretty soon. I felt the movie was bad. 2015 Cinderella I thought was really good. You had 2017's Beauty and the Beast, which went on to gross over $1 billion, even though it literally brought nothing new to the table outside of Lumiere dabbing during the Be My Guest scene. And now we've got Aladdin, a movie that really no one asked for, but Disney is banking on it making $1 billion. So this kind of controversy about browning up extras is not going to do well for them. So it says here that Guy Ritchie and Disney's upcoming live-action Aladdin remake is in hot waters after it was reported that 100 white extras were darkened up with makeup to reflect the film's Middle Eastern setting. Now, yeah, you can't really put on blackface in today's society. I don't think anyone out there is gonna super be on board with that. But at the same time, there has to be a reason for that, technically, right? You would always figure there would be a reason, given where they're shooting the movie, given the how many people are supposedly going to be in the film, how many extras, and like we're talking like 500 extras or something. They wouldn't have trouble finding people to play the roles that require a bit darker skin tone. Now, the story was broken by the Sunday Times, which was later run by various UK outlets this past weekend. The outlet claims that the extras were darkened up because some of their roles required skills that weren't available in the Asian community. Some examples including stuntmen, dancers, and camel herders. Nah, hold on. Huh? I do have to kind of stop at that one there. So you're telling me that in the Asian community, in what could be considered like the Middle Eastern, that part of the world community, you can't find stuntmen, you can't find dancers, and you can't find camel herders? Like the first one, I could maybe understand depending on how their film world is doing, but dancers and camel herders? I mean, I'm not trying to pull a stereotype here, but come on. That should not be hard to do. That should not be hard to find. Now, also, Bollywood is not too far away, and they're stuntmen and they're dancers and maybe possible camel herders, at least cow herders or horse herders, could easily be hired. So hiring white people, then browning them up does feel a little bit on the weird side. I'm wondering where this decision's coming from, to be honest with you. Now, Disney responded to the report by citing how Aladdin's production boasts a large, diverse cast. And you have to love this level of deflection here, because it does come across as deflection. This is the most diverse cast ever assembled for a Disney live-action production. More than 400 of the 500 background actors performing were Indian, Middle Eastern, African, Mediterranean, and Asian. Well, that kind of goes in line with what the first paragraph here said, where 100 white extras were there. So if they were trying to go for people, if they were trying to pick like 5 different ethnicities, you know, Middle Eastern, African, Mediterranean, Asian, and then also throw in whites for good measure, then that would be your 5 key demographics, I guess. And then you would also have, what is it? Equal representation, right? You'd have equality. But if they're browning up the white actors, and that's probably not going to go over well. Just saying. But here's what it says here. Kaushal Oderdra, the stand-in for Aladdin on the set, commented that he saw 20 very fair-skinned actors waiting to be darkened up. On one set, 2 palace guards came in, and I recognized them. I recognized one as a Caucasian actor, but he was now a darkly tanned Arab. I moved inside the marquee where there were 10 extras, and 2 were Caucasian, and they had been heavily tanned to look Middle Eastern. Now, I don't know where the movie's being filmed, but it's entirely probable or I should say possible, that they just stood outside. You know, they just were out there and they got tan naturally. I am of Canadian descent, like Germanic, French, Canadian descent. I'm about as white as they come. Yet down in California, man, people speak Spanish to me all the time because I just have that complexion, especially, and I tan. So I look like I'm Hispanic. I don't speak a lick of English, or I should say I don't speak any Spanish. Barely speak English too. But the point is, it's like you can maybe see how that could happen. So when he says waiting to be darkened up, I would like to see more in terms of how that plays. Now, are we talking like they go out there and someone's got like a spray tanner on them, just like, all right, turn, you know, they're going Banksy on them or something? I have no idea. And none of the reports I read have talked about this, have explained what that technically means. So it's one of those things too that like can be kind of looked at as Hitchens' razor. What it hasn't been presented with evidence can easily be dismissed. Or I'm paraphrasing, but you guys get what I'm saying here. Now, he did further criticize Disney here by saying Disney is sending out a message that your skin color, your identity, your life experiences amount to nothing that can be powered on and washed off. And I disagree with that notion. You know, these things don't necessarily happen in a bubble. They don't happen in a vacuum. These productions, I mean, especially with like 500 extras, you are probably, you know, having, you know, there's a lot of people involved. It's entirely possible that when it came to the casting, when they put out a casting call, they simply weren't able to get the extra people that were needed. That does happen from time to time. And even though it's a huge multi-million-dollar budgeted film, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be able to always fill those particular crowds in. Now, you could also argue, why not use CG? CG sizes have been used for crowds for years. TV, movies, whatever. They've gone and, you know, made more crowds based upon just a few people that they were able to duplicate. But if they're going for authenticity and they're going for a big set piece, which I think is what they're trying to do with this particular musical, especially I think like the Alibaba song. And I think that's going to be something where they don't want to put in CG, and so they just brought this in. In that moment, I could understand what the company's doing. I could understand what the production's doing. But they'd be better off, I think, to come out and explain that. Like, we weren't able to get the people, and it wasn't cost effective to fly in people from another country, which, again, is a valid argument in and of itself. However, this movie, much like Beauty and the Beast, will probably pull in like $1 billion. So Disney could easily front the extra cost and really not have it impact their back end. Now, TV director Reyes Mir criticized Disney, saying it's an insult to the whole industry, further adding how Asian extras could have easily been cast, saying the talent exists and is accessible, and there's no way that Asian extras could not have been hired to meet the needs of the film. Failing to hire on-screen talent of the right ethnic identity to meet clear needs of this production is just plain wrong. We expect better from the filmmakers. Well, again, as I pointed out, I don't know where this movie is being shot at. I don't know the talent pool that's available. It could just not be there. Now, Disney, again, they're deflecting from it, and they're like, oh, whoa. Hey, man, it's very diverse. Very, very diverse. But they're also not saying they didn't do it, right? And they're probably like, stop it with the spray tan. Man, damn. You know, it's like it's Hollywood, man. It's all movie magic. But people really want it, like, you know, you look at this kind of stuff and I understand where they're coming from. I do. I get it. If it was like a major speaking role, you know, like if it was like Jafar, I know who's playing Jafar in this movie. I don't really know. But if it was like Jafar and it was, no, if it was like the genie in this case, you know, was like Seth Rogen or something, and it just looked like Seth Rogen, I could be like, yeah, that's maybe some poor casting. Will Smith, I mean, he's going to be good in the movie, but at the same time, it's also like, you know, is Will Smith what you would picture when you picture a genie? And how might his costume in CG might come along to look? Would it be more like Shazam with Sinbad, or would it be more, you know, in line with the original cartoon? I have no freaking idea. I haven't seen anything yet. Now, the movie comes out May 24th, 2019, obviously for a Memorial Day 2019 release, and by then, this particular controversy will most likely go away. These kind of things don't last very long simply because so much happens in Hollywood. And Disney can just deflect, and most people aren't going to care. That is, unless there's a gigantic pushback from people within inside Hollywood, activists inside the entertainment industry that look at this as being a crime against humanity, a slight against God, and they want to organize and continuously organize and put out negative press for a long time leading up to the release of the film. That could have an impact because while you could look at the American audience as being a group that's probably going to overwhelmingly go see this movie, kids especially, where this particular type of controversy will not have an impact on them or their enjoyment of the film, outside in other cultures and other countries, it could have that kind of impact. So, I mean, if this is really going on and Disney is putting up 100 people and just spray tanning them brown, you may want to like not do that in the future. Just because honestly, maybe the savings for what you would earn in that regard is just not going to be worth the outcome of the BS and negative press, especially right now, especially with how the world is right now. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. I am curious to know your guys' thoughts. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. If you guys want to support the channel, the best way to do that right now is to share it. Click that share, put it on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, whatever. Also, thumbs up the video because it does help in the algorithm. Same with commenting. And also subscribing, hitting that bell, good way to do it too. And if you guys want to see more from me, you can do so right now.